Seniors, if night driving has turned into a storm of glare, if the small print crawls after sunset, or if you wake with eyes that feel like sandpaper, here's the plot twist. Your eyes don't just shut down at night, they repair. While you sleep, photoreceptors recycle their worn-out parts, pigments replenish, tiny blood vessels reset, and the whole visual system tries to come back sharper for morning. Feed that process with the right foods at the right time, and you give your eyes the raw materials they naturally use during overnight maintenance. No miracle claims here, just smart, repeatable choices that stack up. Before we go further, I want to hear from you directly. What's your most frustrating nighttime symptom? Halos, dryness, blurry text, trouble with contrast, and what do you usually eat in the last 2 hours before bed? Drop it in the comments right now. There's one promise running through everything you're about to hear. It's practical. These are affordable foods, easy prep, gentle timing. We're ranking 8 options from solid and safe to why didn't anyone tell me this sooner. Each section adds a new reason, a new nutrient, or a smarter way to time your snack. And yes, some legends are overrated. We'll say that out loud so you trust the rest. Think of this as an evening toolkit you can tailor to your taste, your meds, and your sleep. Ready? Let's start with number 8, the simplest nightlight for your retina that's probably already on your shopping list. 8. Sweet potato, the night vision helper. Low light vision depends on a pigment called rhodopsin, and your body needs vitamin A to make it. That's where sweet potato shines. Its deep orange flesh carries beta-carotene, a vitamin A precursor your body converts as needed. It's an elegant system. You won't overload because conversion is regulated, but you also won't run short if your evening meals regularly offer a steady trickle of precursors. That matters after sunset, when reading menus, spotting curb edges, and handling headlights can feel more demanding than it used to. So how do you turn a humble tuber into a bedtime edge? Keep it gentle. Bake or steam a medium sweet potato until soft. No need for a stopwatch, just avoid blasting heat or charring. Pair it with a touch of fat, olive oil, a small pat of butter, or a dollop of tahini, because carotenoids absorb better in the presence of lipids. If you're curious about timing, 60–90 minutes before you plan to sleep is a sweet spot for most people. Late enough to feed the overnight repair window, early enough to avoid going to bed with a heavy stomach. The portion doesn't have to be huge. 1/2 to 1 medium sweet potato is plenty, especially if you're aiming to keep blood sugar steady. Sprinkle with a pinch of salt and black pepper, maybe a dusting of cinnamon, if you want a warm, cozy vibe that hints bedtime is coming. If reflux is your personal villain, keep the portion smaller and sit upright for a few minutes after eating, comfort first. A couple of quick guardrails. If your multivitamin already includes preformed vitamin A, retinol, you don't need to chase megadoses in food. Balance beats extremes. And while there's nothing forbidden about a microwave, a gentle bake or steam tends to preserve texture and flavor and keeps you in control. But that wasn't the whole story. The next food provides the very fat your retinal cells use to keep images crisp and responsive. 7. Wild salmon. Photoreceptor building blocks. Your retina is remarkably rich in DHA, an omega-3 fatty acid that keeps photoreceptor membranes fluid and responsive. Think of DHA as the difference between a stiff door hinge and one that glides. When you have enough on board, visual signals move cleanly, and your eyes handle contrast and motion with less ghosting. Wild salmon is an easy way to deliver DHA in a form your body recognizes and uses. Why wild? 2 reasons usually tip the scales. First, the omega-3 profile tends to be better, meaning more of the fatty acids you want and fewer of the ones you don't. Second, the beautiful pink color often reflects the presence of carotenoids like astaxanthin, compounds studied for eye comfort under visual stress. If you stare at screens, drive at night, or feel your eyes get tired by evening, that extra antioxidant support can be a gentle nudge in the right direction. Preparation is where most people accidentally sabotage the benefits. Keep the heat moderate. A small fillet 3 to 4 ounces is enough, brushed with olive oil and seasoned simply with salt, pepper, and maybe lemon. Bake or pan-sear until just flaky. If blood sugar swings at night make your sleep restless, Add a small scoop of quinoa or brown rice at dinner so your bedtime snack can stay light. Now the rhythm that works for many, salmon twice a week, with at least one of those dinners happening on a night you plan a modest, eye-friendly snack later. That alternating pattern gets DHA into your routine without fuss and supports your eyes even on the nights you choose a different bedtime bite. Coming next, a tiny red berry with a quiet, practical benefit for your macula and one important medication caveat to respect. 6. Goji berries, macular pigment made simple. You've heard of lutein and zeaxanthin, the twin pigments that concentrate in your macula, filter harsh wavelengths, and support crisp central vision. Goji berries are a natural, enjoyable way to add zeaxanthin in a form your body can use. Keep it easy. Measure out about an ounce, a small handful. If the berries feel too chewy, soak them in warm water for 10 minutes to soften and unlock their flavor. Stirring them into plain yogurt is another simple move that also brings a little protein and fat to the party, which helps you feel satisfied without going to bed stuffed. Want a crunchy partner? Add a tablespoon of almonds or walnuts to bring vitamin E and extra healthy fats. A respectful caution: goji can interact with certain medications, especially blood thinners and some diabetes drugs. If that's you, start with a smaller portion, see how you feel, and talk with your clinician. If goji isn't a fit, no problem. You have 7 other options, and the next one might be the most convenient of all. Flavor-wise, goji sits between sweet and earthy, which makes it feel like dessert without the sugar avalanche that can disrupt sleep. It's a nice-to-have that quietly feeds the very pigments your macula leans on. Next up, a breakfast classic that hides surprisingly absorbable eye-protective pigments in plain sight. 5 pasture-raised egg yolks. Carotenoids that actually arrive. There's a difference between contained in food and delivered to your eyes. Lutein and zeaxanthin from egg yolks come packaged with natural fats and phospholipids that help them cross into circulation and ultimately reach the tissues that need them. In other words, they don't just show up on your plate, they show up where it counts. Go for quality if you can. When hens scratch around for greens and bugs, yolks tend to be deeper orange because they've taken in more pigments. That deeper hue is a visual hint, more of the stuff your macula likes. Prep them gently, soft scrambled on low heat, poached or soft-boiled. Overcooking can dull the color and degrade the very pigments you're after. A quick, comforting bedtime option: 2 softly scrambled yolks on half a slice of whole-grain toast, topped with a pinch of salt and lots of cracked pepper. Worried about cholesterol? Many seniors can include eggs as part of a heart-smart pattern. But if you're working with a clinician on specific targets, check in. The point isn't to eat a dozen, it's to add a few high-impact yolks to your week in a controlled, enjoyable way. If you're dairy-free or watching saturated fat, use olive oil and keep portions modest. Here's the intangible benefit. Eggs are familiar. You don't have to chase a rare berry or search premium aisles to give your eyes lutein and zeaxanthin. They can actually use. Now let's talk myth versus reality. The next berry has a legendary backstory, but the modern data tells a different, more useful tale. 4 bilberries. Great story. Sensible role. You've probably heard the wartime legend. Pilots eating bilberry jam to boost night vision. It's a compelling story, and it makes great headlines. But when more rigorous modern trials looked closely at night vision performance, the big dramatic effects didn't hold up. That doesn't make bilberries worthless, it just means we should put them in the right place on your plate. Here's the right place. As part of a colorful, anthocyanin-rich lineup that supports vascular and antioxidant balance. If you like the taste, keep them in your rotation. Fresh or frozen is fine. Thaw gently if frozen, and enjoy them earlier in the evening if late-night fruit triggers reflux for you. Pair with plain yogurt or chia pudding to keep the snack light, creamy, and calming as you wind down. Speaking of dark berries, the next one brings an extra twist: signals around eye pressure and dryness that make it especially interesting for nighttime comfort. 3 blackcurrants, dark pigments, calm eyes. Blackcurrants wear their power on their sleeve. That inky color screams anthocyanins. For some people, that pigment load translates to eyes that feel quieter by evening. There's also interest in how blackcurrant compounds interact with ocular pressure and visual function in certain contexts, and how black currant seed oil rich in GLA, a special omega-6, may support comfort in stubborn, dry eyes. How to bring them into a bedtime routine. Keep it cool and minimal. Heat is not your friend here. A half cup of thawed black currants lightly crushed with a spoon brings out the juice without losing the delicate compounds. Stir into ricotta or cottage cheese. If dairy sits well with you, the creamy texture slows digestion just enough to prevent a sugar rush, and the protein can help you feel settled, heading into sleep. Curious about the seed oil? Many people try it as a capsule earlier in the day, but that's something to run by your clinician if you're on anticoagulants or have clotting concerns. And if black currants are hard to find, rotate in other dark berries, then keep the next two picks as your anchors. Black currants are where flavor, comfort, and potential pressure support intersect. Not dramatic, not noisy. Now we're stepping into the top tier. Options with human trials moving meaningful measures of retinal function. The first is a golden spice you've probably seen in tiny glass jars for years. 2. Saffron. A small dose with a noticeable nudge. Saffron is one of those quiet legends that actually earns its reputation. Low doses, think threads steeped in warm milk or tea, have been studied for their effect on visual function in early age-related macular changes. It's not magic, and it's not instant, but across weeks to a few months, people report brighter contrast, steadier reading comfort, and a subtle clarity that's hard to describe until you feel it yourself. The bedtime ritual is half the benefit. Warm, not boiling milk, dairy, or unsweetened almond in a small mug. Drop in 15-20 deep red threads and let them sit for 10-15 minutes. The color turns sunset gold. The aroma says, slow down. Sip it about an hour before sleep. A tiny bit of honey is fine if your blood sugar is steady, but skip it if you're sensitive at night. What matters most is the warmth, the timing, and the consistency over several weeks. Quality matters here. Look for reputable sources with rich, uniform red threads and minimal yellow or white. If you've ever bought saffron and wondered why it tasted like hay, it was likely old or mixed with filler. Fresh, high-quality saffron is floral, slightly sweet, and surprisingly comforting in a minimalist, grown-up way. Expectations in check. You won't wake up with superhero vision after night 1, but stacked with salmon twice a week and gentle egg yolk snacks a few nights, saffron can be the nudge that tips evening vision from frustrating to fine. For many seniors, that's a quiet win worth protecting. And now the number 1 pick. It has fans and skeptics. It can help some people but disrupt sleep for others. We'll navigate that nuance together. 1 cocoa flavonols, or raw cacao, vascular support. With a bedtime twist, cocoa sits at the crossroads of pleasure and physiology. Its flavonols, like epicachin, are studied for how they influence nitric oxide and microcirculation, which is relevant because your retina depends on a well-tuned tiny blood vessel network to feed high-energy photoreceptors. Some small studies have shown short-term improvements in visual clarity and contrast after high flavanol cocoa. Others haven't found dramatic changes. That mixed picture means this pick is personal. For some, it's the perfect evening ritual. For others, it's better moved to the afternoon. Here's the rule that keeps your sleep safe. Sleep wins. If cocoa ever makes your heart race, your mind spin, or your bladder wake you at 2 a.m., shift it earlier or skip it at night. The point of this entire list is to help your eyes and your sleep work together, not to trade one for the other. If cocoa does sit well for you, choose non-alkalized cocoa or raw cacao with naturally high flavonols. Keep the recipe minimalist so your stomach stays happy. Warm milk, dairy or unsweetened cashew almond. 1-2 teaspoons of powder, whisk until smooth. That's it. Sweeten lightly, only if you need to, and avoid a mountain of spices. Cayenne and heavy cinnamon can be exciting, but sometimes irritating right before bed. For reflux-prone folks, sip slowly and stop if you feel even a hint of discomfort. You've got the 8 picks. Now let's turn them into something you can live with for a month and measure for yourself. A 30-day night vision blueprint. Simple, flexible, repeatable. Week 1. Build the base. Choose 1 bedtime snack most nights from the following. Half to 1 baked sweet potato with olive oil or a small pat of butter. 60–90 minutes before bed. 2 soft-cooked egg yolks on half a slice of whole-grain toast. A small bowl of goji berries, yam to 1 oz, stirred into plain yogurt. Check med interactions if you're on blood thinners or diabetes meds. At dinner, try wild salmon once this week, then again on the weekend. Keep everything gentle, moderate heat, simple seasoning, no heavy sauces that sit in your stomach at 10 p.m. Week 2, add the comforters. Keep the week 1 rhythm and layer in saffron tea 3-1 tea, threads steeped in warm milk, no boiling. Black currants, 1/2 cup thawed and lightly crushed, folded into ricotta or cottage cheese on 1 or 2 evenings. Notice how your eyes feel at 9 p.m., 10 p.m., and on the first morning of week 3. Write down even tiny changes. Less scratchiness, fewer halos, easier reading on your phone. Those micro wins tell you what to double down on. Week 3. Personalize. Keep salmon twice this week. Stick with saffron most nights if you like the evening calm it brings. If eggs have become your favorite quick fix, make them your anchor. If sweet potato is too filling for you, scale the portion down or alternate nights. This is also the week to recognize any reflux triggers, late-night bathroom trips, or restlessness. Troubleshoot by shrinking portions slightly, moving the snack 15 minutes earlier, or simplifying ingredients. Week 4. Test cocoa. Adjust for sleep. If you're curious about cocoa, test it once or twice. Keep the mug small and clean, and do it earlier in the evening if you're sleep-sensitive. If it perks you up, move it to the afternoon and keep saffron at night. There's no prize for forcing a ritual that doesn't fit. The win is a routine that makes nights easier and mornings clearer. By day 30, you'll have your own night stack. 2 or 3 go-to foods that settle your stomach, support the chemistry your eyes use after dark, and respect your sleep. That stack is not a diet. It's a tool. Use it when evenings get tough, travel throws you off, or glare gets heavy. Then keep it simple and repeat. Microwave myths, portion panic, and do I have to be perfect? Perfection is brittle. Consistency is powerful. If a microwave is your only option, use it and keep the rest of your week gentle. If you hate goji, skip it. Double down on eggs and greens at dinner. If salmon is out of budget, use smaller portions or lean on canned wild salmon mixed with lemon and olive oil earlier in the evening. If dairy at night bugs you, switch to unsweetened almond or cashew milk and see if that smooths things out. Portions matter less than routines. You're building a trail of small decisions that point your biology toward easier evenings. Finally, none of these foods replace your clinician's care if you're managing a diagnosed eye condition. Rapid-fire answers, because you'll ask and you should. Can I just take a supplement and be done? Sometimes, but food often brings better absorption and fewer stomach surprises. If you and your clinician choose a supplement, great, keep the food routine anyway. They layer well. How close to bed is too close? Most people do best at 60–90 minutes before sleep with modest portions. Big meals right at bedtime can trigger reflux or restlessness, which cancels the benefit. What if I can't find black currants or bilberries? Use what you have. Blueberries, strawberries, cherries. Dark color is your friend. Keep the top 2, saffron and salmon eggs, as your anchors. Is cocoa safe for blood pressure? Cocoa flavonols are studied for vascular effects, but if you're on meds or sensitive to stimulants, test cautiously. If your sleep or calm is worse, move cocoa earlier or drop it at night. How long until I notice anything? Some folks feel calmer eyes in days. Pigment changes take weeks. That's why we built a 30-day blueprint. Long enough to matter, short enough to try. Nighttime doesn't have to be the enemy of clear vision. Your eyes are already working after dark. Recycling, refreshing, healing. All you're doing now is feeding that process with the right molecules at the right moment. Carotenoids that actually arrive. DHA that keeps photoreceptors supple. Anthocyanins that back up delicate vessels. And a golden thread of saffron that quietly steadies retinal signals. Pick a couple you love. Keep the portions modest. Repeat until it feels effortless. Now it's your turn to steer the next video. Tell us in the comments your biggest nighttime struggle and your current bedtime snack. And if this guide helped, hit subscribe. Your eyes won't just thank you in theory, they'll thank you tomorrow morning when the small print looks a little brighter and the road home feels a lot calmer.